This week on Rural Reflections, Dave and I talk about the Red Power get-together, truck platooning, and those crazy wrenches that get put together in shops all across the country. Welcome to the Rural Reflections podcast with Dave Nelson in Carrington, North Dakota, and Grant Nelson here at the studios of Thief River Falls Radio. Good morning, Dave. How are you doing today?
Morning, Grant. I'm doing fine. Waiting on a rain that's supposed to come, but I don't think it's going to. So I probably won't have an excuse not to get busy very much longer.
You know, I think a lot of times for us, all the weather in our area is soaked up by the little town of Dorothy, Minnesota. They seem to get it all, and then it avoids us. So I don't know if you've got a town out there like that absorbs everything for you, but we sure do.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it seems funny. It's always one place or the other. We're kind of in a place where we think the weather splits southwest of here, and half of it goes north and half of it goes southeast. So we're kind of always missing the rain, or the other thing we get is we get way too much when we get one, but never happy.
Well, it seems like Carrington's kind of dry land farming on the west side and more almost like, well, maybe kind of halfway valley farming on the east side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very much like that. So
maybe that has something to do with it. I hear you're joined in the background by your little kitty cat. How's she doing today?
Oh, she's yelling for food. Every time you turn around, she wants to eat. And, she's a little bit dementia-ish.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she knows if she wants to eat or not, but she thinks she does. So she's yelling at me for something.
I've got the same problem myself. Not the dementia thing, at least I don't think so. And but the food thing. I seem to always want to eat myself, so I can understand where she's coming from. How about the farming out there? I saw a little bit of combining finally going on here. They're taking up some barley. Anything going on out there yet in the Carrington, North Dakota area?
Well, they're trying to do some barley, but having very little success with it because it's actually kind of getting a little too late for some of it now. It is this 2-row barley, and they don't want to swath it, and it's sprouting, standing up now, and it's a very fussy crop to handle, and the weather is not really conducive to it this year.
Yeah. I've noticed some of the guys around here have been spraying. I don't know if they're doing it for like a fungus or if they're just trying to kill off the wheat and get it to dry down. But we've had a little bit of that going on too. How about out there?
Yeah, if they're spraying wheat, I would think they're trying to kill it now because it's kind of that time right now. You wouldn't think so, but it moved really fast when it started to ripen a little bit. And the other thing is now with spraying crops and pre-harvest and all that, they like to take it quite a bit earlier than you would normally do it, in a traditional farming situation where you wait till it's good and dry before you swath it. Here they take it on a little bit on the green side when they spray it, and seems to give them a little better quality, I guess.
Okay, well, that's good. Our hometown of Viking, Minnesota, which I think population's under 100 now. It used to be a bustling town of 140 when you and I were kids there, but it's gotten a little bit smaller. But they've got Viking Good Old Days coming up this weekend. It's only going to be one day instead of the whole weekend due to the COVID-19, that sort of thing. They figured, well, we'll just encapsulate it into one day and move on with it. But that one's still going on. But there's been quite a few different little get-togethers and threshing shows and that sort of thing that have been canceled this year, Dave.
Yeah, there is a lot of them, it seems like, that are canceled, depending on, I suppose, their situation. But some of the real small ones, they're kind of trying to hang on and hold down, but some of the bigger ones are canceled. There's something going on in Huron, South Dakota this weekend called the Red Power Roundup. That's been postponed since June, and now that's going on there, where anybody that has international pickups and tractors and pretty much anything, I guess, international, brings it there for I don't know what it is, a 3-4 day show and get together, And it's a big deal, and it's held all over the country in different places, but it's at here in South Dakota this year. And so I've been reading things online where people are making their pilgrimage there with driving their old vehicles, and people hauling loads and loads of tractors and stuff like that there. So they're going to have that anyway. And there's other things, state fairs and that kind of thing have been canceled, and a lot of other things like that are being canceled. I don't even know what our local steam show is going to be like, if they're going to plan to do it or if they're going to cancel it. I believe they're going to cancel it. But
That's the one up in New Rockford?
Yeah.
James River, isn't it? I think they call it the James River or something like that, don't they call it?
No, it's the Central North Dakota Steam.
Okay.
Central North Dakota Steam Threshers Association.
Well, I'm glad they could gather the tribe still in South Dakota for Red Power. You're along Highway 200 there. Have you seen any beautiful international harvester tractors or farmhauls come through there on trailers? Well,
actually, I haven't really been watching, but we have an awful lot of traffic through here. This town, because of Highway 52 and 281 and that, but there's a lot of people that are hauling old stuff through here. A lot of old cars and that coming through here this week, and of course, a ton of motorcycles have been coming through, headed for the big Sturgis weekend.
Every once in a while you see a motorcycle that somebody's put together and it's got a tractor theme to it. Now, some of those are just a motorcycle with a paint job, which is fine, but some of them are a little bit more detailed. I think I've even seen like a hit and miss engine used on a homemade motorcycle. Those are kind of neat.
Yeah, I know. There's this one, they call it the John Deere motorcycle, and it's really, it has no John Deere heritage except it's painted green. It's got a V8 in it, and that one usually gets a lot of exposure. Pictures. People think because it's unique.
Yeah.
And then there's, like you say, the motorcycle that's just has a lot of accents for John Deere or International or something like that. Kind of like what they used to build on that. I can't remember what the name of that TV show was where they...
Oh, Orange County Choppers.
Orange County Choppers, yeah. And so they, make the specialized version or dress one up so it looks something like whatever theme they're going after,
So South Dakota probably gained quite a bit of population then this weekend if they had both Red Power and Sturgis going on. I've never been to Sturgis, no interest in it, but I have been to Sturgis, South Dakota a few weeks after their big motorcycle gathering out there. And I was amazed at all the t-shirt shops. I mean, it's not a very big town. It's a small town, but it's all bars and t-shirt shops. That's pretty much all that's there.
Yeah. Interesting place. I like the Big Butte, Bear Butte it's called. It's right out, or it looks like it's right outside of town, but it's probably 10 miles or more that you have to go to get there.
Okay.
But I was like that, and I guess I know they have a famous bar there that doesn't really thrill me, but it's got a lot of cool things, and it's a big deal for a lot of people.
Hello,
I'm Grant Nelson. This is Rural Reflections. I wanted to be a truck driver when I was young. I dreamt of the cattle trailer I'd have and the exciting adventures which I'd have all across the country. I grew up on BJ and the Bear on the television and C.W. McCall on the radio, so my idea of trucking was a bit less than realistic. I'm still interested in the trucking industry, and there's a new wrinkle to trucking in Minnesota. I want to explain it to you and share my concept of what it might appear to be on the road. Truck platooning is when trucks travel together, connected by a computer system. The system communicates with the trucks to align speed, acceleration, and braking. Drivers steer, watch the system, and intervene when needed. However, the lead truck controls braking and acceleration. Locally, truck platooning is allowed on U.S. Highway 2 from East Grand Forks to Cass Lake, and from Moorhead to St. Cloud on either Highway 10 or I-94. Platooning is aimed at helping trucking companies save gas through drafting and improve traffic flow while preventing crashes. The drafting can increase fuel efficiency by reducing drag. Fuel efficiency can be a big benefit to trucking companies since businesses usually spend roughly 34% of their operating costs on fuel. Okay, those are the facts. Now my ideas of truck platooning. I've always enjoyed the idea of being isolated yet connected, so I really like the concept. The ability to work by yourself yet enjoy the support of team members appeals to me too. Modern trucks run quite well, but there are breakdowns, so if you're teamed with one or two other trucks, you've got help. I always suspect trucking would be lonely work, particularly when you're miles and miles from home. Some couples like to pair drive, although I imagine two people in one cab is not as efficient a way to drive and make money as single drivers. Maybe platooning would give that feeling of partnership, even though you would double or triple the trucks in the partnership. All parties would depend on one another as the lead driver controls acceleration and braking, while each driver is responsible for steering. But all would share in the responsibility of getting the load to its destination. This would be excellent for entry-level drivers to learn also, as they'd be able to learn from the reactions of their lead driver even as they're actively engaged in steering, and can ask questions as all trucks would be linked for communication. The greater numbers of trucks that would move as one might enjoy special treatment on the road. Parking lot space is at a premium for truckers in some areas of the United States. Maybe a group of paired trucks or even 3 trucks would more easily be able to get space at a parking lot or even be able to garner expedited service when picking up loads. Shippers might like the idea of moving 3 times the cargo as easily as calling up one truck. The idea of truck platooning might appeal to some and may upset others, particularly with concerns about safety or job stability, as it could be argued that this would be the first step to autonomous trucks. Questions for the future and another program. I'm Grant Nelson. This is Rural Reflections. You know, I was just thinking about it. Our cousin, the McGregors, they are out, well, I suppose west of Bismarck. Isn't that where the Mystery Highway is, where all those all that welding's been done with different figures and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
I think that's what they've been putting pictures on social media all weekend, and I thought I recognized most of those figures. I've always liked that area out there. And then there's that big cow that sits on the hill. When we used to go on trips every once in a while. And one of the people we went with was Teresa, our buddy from town here. And every time she went by the cow, she had to call her daughter. And she had been doing it for years because she lives she's from out west, out in Idaho. And so every time we went by there, that would generate a phone call from her to her daughter, no matter what time of day. But that's kind of
that's kind of fun to stop there for that. I've been there several times too, and it's interesting.
Yeah. Hey, one more thing. I was just thinking about bringing something up. I was reading in, Successful Farming or something. They were talking about the different kinds of wrenches out there. And the wrenches that are engineered in somebody's shop. And I've thought about all the different pieces of wrenches that have been scabbed together with globs and globs of welding. And do you guys ever have any of those there at the shop in Carrington?
Oh man, everybody's got a drawer full of them, and then you also have the piece that you cut off. You have to have a drawer full of those pieces. The one that when you take a wrench and cut it in two and make a special wrench out of it, you usually have a leftover box end or an open end. So yeah, we have a lot of those. There's a lot of tools that get butchered up and they don't look like what they were intended to be. But yeah, there's all kinds of those. Actually, we have a toolbox that's pretty full of them in the tool room at the shop, just wrenches that have been made over, and then, of course, the extra pieces that are left over after you're done. And I think every shop has them.
The island of misfit tools, but you got to have one no matter what. The other thing I like, too, are the wrenches, the old railroad wrenches. I'm sure it's because of the scale of a locomotive or that sort of thing that they were working on. But, a railroad wrench, unless it has a 4-foot handle, doesn't seem to really qualify as a railroad wrench.
No, they have a whole different level of tooling on the railroad, boy.
Yeah, they do.
Jacks and things like that, that are something that'll actually really lift something. And a lot of those jacks were mechanical, for many years. They didn't have hydraulics on them. They didn't have anything. They just relied on that big railroad bar that everybody wants to have one around of. And that was the jack handle, and they could lift all kinds of stuff with them.
Yeah, those guys knew a lot about leverage and making something mechanical work. It got a little bit easier when the hydraulics came into play. But boy, I tell you what, it's amazing to see some of the different gearing and that sort of thing. Well, you look at a handyman jack. That's a real story in leverage. Yeah,
it is. It's a dangerous one, but yes, it is a real. I mean, you can really lift something with them if you're in the right situation.
Yeah. They call him the Widowmaker, and there's a reason for that, because if you bend down, that handle will for sure come and crack you on the back of the head.
Yeah. They're a scary jack. And actually, they just need a little bit of regular service. As long as they're oiled up and you don't twist them or bend them, they work just fine. But they get dry, and they ride around in the bottom of the box of the pickup for years at a time between uses and stuff, and just like anything mechanical, it needs some attention to keep it working.
Yeah, lack of maintenance is part of the protocol on most farms for that kind of stuff. They just get thrown in the back of the pickup and back there with the fencing tools and all the other pieces of straw and dirt that was hauled last time. So, yeah.
And then you find a rock that you need to get picked up, so just throw that in on top of all the rest of it.
Yep, that's typically the way it goes. You got anything else for us this week, Dave?
Oh, I guess not. We're just going to keep on enjoying what's left of summer, because there is fall in the air.
Sure is. Keep telling everybody summer's grip on northwest Minnesota is finally loosening as we turn our eyes towards the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, I'm going to end today with kind of a special one. From Lonesome Dove, Augustus McCrae always said, here's to the sunny slopes of yesteryear. I hope you have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.